comments to the body as a whole and not to staff, individual members of the body, or the public. No person shall be permitted to interrupt members of the body, staff presentations, or members of the public. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks about members of the body, staff, or the public, or who shall become boisterous or threatening or personally abusive of the body, staff, or members of the public shall be asked by the mayor, chair to cease and desist such activity and may be requested or required to leave the meeting in the event the behavior continues to disrupt the meeting proceedings. So public comment will be limited. Are we going to limit it to 2 minutes? The council may not discuss or take any actions on issues not on the agenda, except that matters of the city council or staff may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed by persons exercising public testimony rights. And with that, we'll go to the first speaker, Joseph Batista. Donna Sider is not in the meeting yet, so Sarah Eggers will follow Mr. Batista. Mr. Batista, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. I'm Joe Bautista. I live in District 2. Good afternoon, Mayor Gordo and council members. I was asked to help support the congregational land overzoning at tonight's meeting, so I just want to offer a couple of thoughts on that. It's my understanding that right now churches can apply to be rezoned on a case-by-case basis. And I understand that MHCH, Making Housing and Community Happen, as well as other advocates, are advocating for a by right, overlay zone where churches don't have to apply for it individually. So I've been giving this a little bit of thought, and I just have to confess, I'm not quite pro-development. In fact, if anything, I'm anti-development. At the same time, I think in this particular case, it makes sense to give churches that right to develop according to a predetermined formula that I suppose can be kind of hashed out, debated, worked on. And I saw one presentation by Phil Burns, who's associated with MHCH, and it seemed reasonable. I can't remember the exact details, but it seemed like he put a lot of thought into it, and it was fair. But I think it makes more sense to have it predetermined for a couple of reasons. One is just to save money and time, because if we have to do this for each church that wants to do it, right now there's at least 5 churches in Pasadena who want to redevelop their land. It seems honestly like a waste of energy to repeat the process unless there are special reasons why certain neighborhoods would have special considerations. But I think that's the main thing, is we don't want special consideration for certain neighborhoods. We want to have all of Pasadena in different neighborhoods, different enclaves, have similar standards for density. Whatever that formula is, I think that's just fair, and it'll help spread lower income populations, if I can use that word, to different neighborhoods, which I think is a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Donna Sider still not in the meeting. Oh, she is. Great. Donna Sider, followed by Sarah Eggers, followed by Heavenly Hughes. Ms. Sider, go ahead.
Thank you. So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, terrific. I am a 36-year resident of Pasadena, and since becoming homeowner in District 4 24 years ago, I've participated in leadership of Pasadena and facilitated numerous things in the neighborhood along with at church. So I am also here to support rezoning church land to allow affordability. This is something that I was made aware of because I had served at Pasadena Covenant, where, as you know, our city's bad weather shelter was hosted for 30 years. And some people, of course, do not know they are no longer that place. And so they have had just an escalating series of issues that only highlights, right, the fact that we have many people on our streets who do not have a place to live. So, during 2020, when the church was closed, unhoused individuals began to slip past the gates, and word spread that cell phones could be charged at the electrical in the church parking lot. So regularly, several people were camping in the lot overnight, taking bucket showers, there was nudity, fire in a dumpster, burglary with stolen property. And, when a trespasser who was found sleeping in the pew was asked to leave, basically they refused and responded violently. So
25 seconds.
we really want to support what MCHC is doing for zoning affordability on church property. We have an urgent crisis. Please, please, please pay attention to what is being offered through our churches. And they've already chosen developers. They've got plans. They just need the zoning changed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sarah Eggers, followed by Heavenly Hughes, followed by Victor Hodson. Ms. Eggers?
Thank you. My
You
name
have
is
2 minutes. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Sarah Eggers, and I'm a resident of Pasadena. I'm a small business owner. I'm a mother of 3, including a 2-month-old that I'm holding in my arms right now. I drive a minivan. I pay my taxes. I patronize lots of local businesses and utilize the services provided by the city. I'm not sure if you, Mr. Mayor, would consider me one of the people that you represent. After hearing your comments last week during the city council meeting, it's not clear just who you do and do not represent. It seems like you're hoping that by dismissing and disrespecting people who call in demanding accountability for the police killing of a young Black father shot in the back and then held down with a knee on his back, that we will go away. And this council will be allowed to continue to have the cozy relationship with the Pasadena police that essentially gives them free rein to terrorize, harass, and kill the very residents that they're supposedly here to protect and serve. So like others who are calling into weekly to these meetings, we have other things to do than to wait for hours on a Zoom on Monday night, hoping that the council, as the council continues to fail to address this horrific killing and the pattern of harassment, abuse, and violence that it's part of. However, we will continue to show up. I've never spoken at a city council meeting before, but here I am. And I'm here because of your comments last week, Mr. Mayor, because you need to know that the more you try to push us aside, the more we'll show up and in greater numbers until this council takes action. I yield my time.
Thank you. Heavenly Hughes, followed by Victor Hodson. Ms. Hughes?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can. You have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
I'm taking a deep breath just thinking about what Mayor Victor Gordo said to the community last week. Mayor Victor Gordo and City Council, we demand an apology for the the disrespect. Let me just get straight to it. For the disrespect, the conduct of Mayor Victor Gordo, derating, dismissing the community in our comments. We are looking for upstanders, not bystanders. I am just as disappointed, or we are just as disappointed with the whole of the city council for not pulling the collar of Mayor Victor Gordo when he disrespected all of us. He literally was banging on us. I understand, Mayor Victor Gordo, that you are from the streets, and I believe that Ricky Pickens and Mark Sutton came to teach you all about internet and social media banging. That is very dangerous and unproductive to bang on people over social media. And Mayor Victor Gordo, that's just what you did. You called us out, called us cowards, said that we don't have the guts to speak up. I invited you all to come to Peace in the Park so you can face me directly and I can tell you directly what the community is experiencing due to the fact and lack of public safety when it comes to police violence and police murdering Black men in our streets. Say his name, Anthony McClain. Say his name, Anthony McClain. I invite you again. You don't have to bang on me through social media. You can come and meet us. We'll be at Boston Ports, November 13th at 6 p.m. Meet us there.
Ms. Hughes, do you know where I was on Saturday?
Yes, I do, Mayor Victor Gordo. Did you bang on anybody there that day to call them cowards?
You want to tell the public where I was on Saturday?
don't need to tell the public where you were on Saturday because they all heard you disrespecting us. And I just felt like Mayor Victor Gordo, this is your opportunity to apologize to us.
At Robinson Park.
Did you apologize at Robinson Park?
No,
and I appreciate that you were there. Were you able to apologize that day?
No, what I did was exactly what I told you I was going to do, and I went and engaged with the people at Robinson Park, a park that you seem to be unable to visit.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please make sure you get that right. We go to Robinson's Park twice a month, feeding the homeless and everyone else that's there. And that's a free service that we give to those in the community. I'm at Robinson Park. We, as My Tribe Rise, are at Robinson Park continuously. Mayor Victor Gordo, I feel like you're being condescending and dismissing again. I'm asking you, are you going to apologize to us?
No, I'm not going to apologize to you, Ms. Hughes.
I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Let me hear what he said, please.
I said I was at Robinson Park, and that's, you know why I was there, and you know why I was there. Because children in our park were being shot, and I was there to cheer on the Pasadena Giants, as I told you I would be.
So I understand you see the urgency, and we are with you when you talk about the urgency of community violence. But why are you not making it an urgency when it comes to police violence and the murder of Anthony McClain and so many other Black men who have been murdered in Pasadena? We've been asking for a whole year that you make that urgent. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mayor Victor Gordo.
Victor Hodgson, followed by Alan Shea.
Point of clarification, I do not believe in District 3 that children were being shot, and I think we just need to point that out. There was a shooting, but I don't believe it was children. Thank you.
Victor Hodgson, followed by Alan Shea, followed by Hiram Cormier Jr. Mr. Hodgson? Are you able to unmute your...
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
You have 2 minutes? Yes, we can. Go ahead. 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Monday night city council meeting is the perfect example of the film's Thorns on the Rose. Black abuse, corruption, and the Pasadena police. Mayor Victor Gordo, you flared up your thorns and pierced deep into the core of the community of Pasadena. Verbally, repeatedly, Mr. Gordo, you were saying things that I think that's a disrespect to the community and to the college. We demand you to humble yourself and apologize to the community of Pasadena and to the concerned voices of the neighboring city. My Tribe Rise support team would love to speak with City Council about peace. Positive energy activates constant elevation and encourage the use of positive community engagement toolkit to build a fundamental relationship with the constituents in Pasadena and neighboring cities. And we demand an apology. And I would also like to know what's the latest with Anthony McClain. Can City Council give us any updates? Is there any updates you could give us to the community?
You have 40 seconds left in your public comment time.
I'm asking for apology for Victor Gordo, and I'm asking, do the City Council could give any updates in regards to Anthony McClain? Give agendizing. We're asking. I'm asking.
Thank you.
No response.
Next speaker is Alan Shea, followed by Hiram Cormier Jr., followed by Anthony Manousos. *6 to unmute, Mr. Shea. There you go.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Victor Gordo and City Council members. As you well know, on our journey of calling you every Monday, it's truly the voice of the community. The things that's really challenging, especially as someone who is a product of Pasadena, from heart to every step I take, it's truly a disappointment, Victor, for you not to adhere to what the community is saying. They are informing you that you were disrespectful. You should not allow your pride or your self-esteem or anything that you have to get in that way. Just understand you have offended the community. It's simple. That's part of the great leadership that you should be demonstrating. I watch you. I support you. I love our Northwest community. I've committed over 12 years of being directly involved with making sure that we build trust. We build accountability. Those things are not being demonstrated by this council member. So that's an eye-opener that you have your community giving you guidance in this manner. And I really believe you should adhere to it. Each and every one of you, each of you members, council members, especially Victor Gordo, and you really need to bring forth a real plan to reform the corruption that is growing as it relates to the city council members, as it relates to the Pasadena police, and how it's been handled as it relates to the Anthony McClain shooting. It is very clear. Every piece of evidence from the source itself, which is the video, demonstrates that, and you continue to mitigate it as though it's not a big thing. Use your leadership, Mr. Gordo. Use it. Make us extremely proud of what we want to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Hiram Cormier Jr., followed by Anthony Manousos, followed by Kat Ross.
All right.
2 minutes, go ahead.
Yeah. Fire the officers who killed Anthony McClain. It's plain and simple. We come in here every single week and we tell you that fire those cops who killed that man. It's not right. Like I told you before, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure some of y'all have kids or, Gordo talks about kids. How do you think children feel seeing their kids killed by cops? What about that part? That's the part of the equation that you miss. And the other part is, while you go to parks, where are y'all before we get killed? Where are the services? Where is the help? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what, $93 million to the Pasadena police for a gang of helicopters to put a nigga in a handcuff, but ain't no jobs used with that money. Ain't no, make the parks better or no, that money doesn't go to education. It doesn't do shit. It's just put a nigga in handcuffs. It's not. So I don't want to hear all that. And your whole, let's show the real face of Pasadena to the world. Y'all talk about constituents and loved ones and who is and who is not from Pasadena. First of all, let's talk about who is from Pasadena. The brothers sitting up in Terminal Bay or Pelican Bay, Terminal Island, Soledad State Prison, the LA County Jail. Those are your constituents. If anybody's a constituent, it will be them. And they ain't got no type of resource. They ain't got no type of help. So on both sides of the trigger, nigga, where is it at? Where's the help? Fire the cops who killed Anthony McClain. We ain't dealing with opinions. Anthony McClain was running out of his fucking shoes and was shot in his back. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. So it don't matter what the fuck I think, it don't matter what you think. These are facts. And the fact needs to be corrected because that shit don't deserve to happen to nobody. Especially not no Northwest Pasadena where the black people live at, where half of you niggas is too scared to show up before something happens to us. So how about that?
Expired.
Defund the police, fire those cops.
Anthony Manousos, followed by Kat Ross, followed by Michael Williams.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. 2 minutes, go ahead.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank city council members who showed up at Thrift Church yesterday for a gathering sponsored by POP, especially council members Kennedy, Rivas, Madison, and Hampton. We really appreciate you for showing interest in what we think. Council member Kennedy and Anthony Portantino also expressed appreciation for advocates, for which I am also grateful. Those who speak during public comment speak out because we care deeply about this city, just as you do who are sitting around the dais. Most of us are from Pasadena, but some who speak have been displaced from our city because of soaring housing costs. Some, like Heavenly Hughes, bring food and other necessities to Pasadena's homeless population, a family in our city. It is not appropriate to speak to us dismissively, just as not appropriate for us to speak to you disrespectfully. Having said that, I want to urge you to listen to what the public is telling you. The city has done good things with affordable housing, but we need more, much more. As many have told you, we need innovative ideas like rezoning congregational land for affordable housing by right. The public has made this clear. This needs to happen ASAP. We need limits on campaign contributions. 77% of citizens polled say they want money out of politics. The percentage in Pasadena is probably much higher. The public has spoken loudly and clearly. Listen to your constituents and to the excellent arguments presented by Common Cause. And we also need police accountability, real police accountability. The police that savagely beat up Christopher, Ballou, and Pasadena 4 years ago have yet to be disciplined. Those who killed Anthony McLean, Kendrick McDade, and Reginald Thomas should have been fired. So I want to just say that you really need to listen to we the people. We elect you, we pay your salary. You have a right, we therefore have a right to let you know what we think and feel. Let's work together to make our city a better place, a place where everyone is decently and affordably
Your
housed,
time has expired.
where everyone feels safe, safe from criminals and safe from misconduct by police. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Kat Ross, followed by Michael Williams, followed by Jill Shook.
After listening to the presentation on officer-involved shootings, I perhaps naively took a face value that the city of Pasadena wanted to hold the officers who shot and killed Anthony McLean accountable, just not now. Perhaps after waiting several years for the DA to weigh in, too, then the killer cop who currently patrols our streets would be removed from the force. It's not swift justice, but it would be something. It also seemed like there was council interest in changing city policy regarding officer-involved shootings to more swiftly hold officers accountable. But that issue has yet to come to the full council. Why? Why will you not make any progress on holding killer cops accountable? Then last week, after 6 public comments requesting action on this matter, the council said it was offended that community members were still bringing this issue up. Offended that our outrage had not shifted to a different killing in a different time and place. That moment shifted my perspective. I can no longer trust that the council intends to just do something at some future moment. We need a city public statement about what you think of Pasadena police killing residents, and we need action to hold killer cops responsible. Otherwise, we're left wondering, does the city think it's okay for police to assume someone's in a gang and therefore their killing is justified? Do you know we've had a former officer come into our community meetings and tell us they're happy Anthony is dead? That the city is better off? Is that what you think too? Is it okay to shoot residents in the back as they run away? You act as though you're tired of being asked to hold officers accountable, so change the policy. Close administrative reviews of officers within 9 months of the incident. At almost every council meeting, members propose the meeting is adjourned in the memory of some Pasadenan that's died. Well, I propose this meeting is adjourned in the memory of Anthony McLean, who was killed unjustly by the Pasadena police, who have still not been held accountable by this city or by this council.
Thank you. Michael Williams, followed by Jill Shook, followed by Vanessa Kale.
Can everybody
Go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
So last week, Victor Gordo said that we were not at, people who call in were not at the meeting. And also they said that the meeting, most people there were okay with what's going on in the city regarding what's happening in Northwest Pasadena, including with what's going on with the police. That's not the meeting I went to, because I was there and I did hear what people had to say. And what I heard was people wanted more resources in Northwest Pasadena, that they were not happy with the way the police were responding to the violence. And all of us agreed, including the police. They said that this was not a policing matter, that we could not police our way out of this issue, that we needed more resources and more funding to Pasadena. Yet you tried to tap dance and move around, passing a bill that gives over $600,000 in 3 years to a device, a system like ShotSpotter, instead of giving that money to the community. And you say you talk to the community. You say you speak for the community, not us. You say you're the ones that know best of what the community wants. It's a joke. A, you lied because you lied about folks who call into this meeting not being there. And two, you lied because no one at that meeting was thrilled with the way you all have been handling anything that's going on in Northwest Pasadena.
25 seconds.
You all should, you should apologize. You should apologize for lying on us. You should apologize for misrepresenting that meeting. And you should apologize to the family of Anthony McLean, because you basically said that the community doesn't care about Anthony McLean and that they don't care about his death. Well, that's a lie. And you've lied 3 times now. So you should apologize for those lies and correct those lies that you made. Period.
Time has expired. Thank you. Jill Shook, followed by Vanessa Kale, followed by Kate McInerney. Jill, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, several weeks ago I was listening when the mayor was concerned about SB 9 and the possible fallout with corporate investor-owned properties. And I also have that same concern. And it's happening already in many of our Pasadena neighborhoods. I keep hearing about bidding wars, and the majority of those pushing prices up are corporate investors wanting to pay all cash. I think it's time that the city seriously look at some kind of citywide policy to address this. Here's a few examples. So first choice for those properties, I think, should first go to nonprofits and local owners. Another idea is to make sure who owns that property transparently.
I'm Nicole Hadley.
Another idea that corporate investors tend to be more likely to evict. So a physical sit down with the person they're evicting before it happens. This was done during the 2008 meltdown in Hawaii, where they required banks to sit down with a homeowner before they conducted a foreclosure. And it cut foreclosures in half. It was very dramatic. So there's some great ideas that can be explored. I hope you'll agendize this and begin to discuss it. I too was at that meeting at Robinson Park.
30 seconds.
And I want to thank Councilman Kennedy and Mayor Gordo for having this important meeting. I did not have an opportunity to speak, even though I kept raising my hand, but I wanted to send my condolences to the 24-year-old Pasadena man who lost his life. And second, encourage you to consider adopting the Parent Project. It's the #1 gang intervention and prevention program in the country. We had it here before, and we were seeing kids leave gangs.
Your time has expired.
I have a quick question for the speaker. Can you provide to the city clerk or the city manager whatever skeletal outline that you have with the information that you just spoke about, Ms. Shook? Because you said that we had this particular program once before, and I think you told or gave testimony that it was successful. So I don't think we all know about that program. So it'd be helpful if we receive that information from you.
Thank you. I'd be happy to share that with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
If you want to send that to me, I can receive that on behalf of the city.
Okay, no problem.
Mayor, Ms. Shook asked questions about SB 9. I did actually request that to come back to us when it first came out, and that's the reason why the Lincoln Avenue specific plan was put on the back burner for a while. With that being said, do we have a time frame of when our response to SB 9 will be coming back to the City Council?
Well, we're looking at it from a subject of a closed session, but we're looking at it from vantage point of litigation, potentially joining with other cities. It's a problem. SB 9 is, as some of us predicted, is going to displace a lot of families in Pasadena. And we have to take action. It was supported by developers. We're now seeing, as Ms. Shook points out, the all-cash offers. We're seeing people looking to develop our neighborhoods. And the first neighborhoods that are going to be mined and developed are neighborhoods where people of color live in Northwest Pasadena, around Villa Park, around Jackie Robinson Park. And it's cause for concern for all of us. So you can expect to hear more about it in closed session, and then ultimately a recommendation to join like-minded cities to challenge SB 9.
Thank you, Mayor. And then I just have one other question, and it was about our public safety meeting as it relates to how we process disciplinary actions. When will that be coming back to the full city council? The police department, I'm sorry. I should have been more specific. We brought it to public safety, and it was supposed to come
public
back.
safety. I'm sorry. You're right.
Yes.
You're right. I'm thinking public safety. I probably at the beginning of the year, given our time frame, Mr. Hampton.
Okay, there's definitely an urgency there. I mean, this has been going on for an extremely long time. We have the ability to make changes, and we should be making those changes so that something like what happened to Anthony McLean, there is accountability action to our police officers. So hopefully that would prevent something like that from happening again. I do agree with the speakers that it has been taking an extremely long time, and it does seem as if there is no progress with the case and how we're going to hold people accountable. In this city, we have had officer-involved shootings, and a lot of those officers, and I'm sure that they have rectified and done what they needed to do after the fact, but they have been promoted, and that doesn't build trust, right? When someone is not held accountable for their actions that the city ends up paying millions upon millions upon millions of dollars to correct. We correct each and every other issue. When a sidewalk is someone trips on it, I'm going to reiterate it because I reiterate this every week. We fix it. When a kid gets hit by a tree, we do our best to rectify that. And we get those trees out, and we have arborists out there. But when someone is shot in the back, we let this go for years upon years upon years, and it's not right. I also just want to bring up the idea of bringing back to public safety the body-worn camera policy, because I think it's important, and I said this when this came to us the first time, that those body-worn cameras do not turn off unless someone asks for them to be turned off. There shouldn't be an option to turn your camera on and off when you want to. That's the purpose of the camera. So I would like to see that come back to us at public safety, Mayor. Thank you for indulging me. I apologize to my colleagues for taking too much time.
Vanessa Kale, followed by Kate McInerney, followed by Jason R.
Hello, hello, Pasadena City Council. My name is Vanessa, and I live in Altadena. I am here to speak about Pasadena police violence, which sometimes crosses the border into Altadena, as Chris Ballou found out in 2017. I speak for myself when I say that I find the level of police violence in this country, especially in communities of color and poor folk, to be unacceptable. I am asking for the firing of officers involved in the Anthony McLean case, the agendizing of the Anthony McLean case, mandatory disciplinary action for police misconduct, and fully transparent officer-involved shooting investigations. Thank you.
Thank you. Kate McInerney, followed by Jason R., followed by Jasmine Richards Abdullah. Kate hung up. So we'll go to Jason R., followed by Jasmine Richards Abdullah, followed by Adriana Batista, who's not yet checked in.
Yep. So the article released by James Farr a few weeks back is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the cover-up of Anthony McLean's murder. The fact that a crime report was produced with the false claim of assault with a deadly weapon by Anthony McLean, who was murdered by Edwin Dumagwindin, is beyond comprehension. Edwin is listed as the victim in this city council, the mayor, the city attorney, and this fucking stupid city manager have treated Edwin Dumagwindin as such since he shot Anthony McLean in his back, all right? So what else have you obscured in darkness that will come to light? We have learned that the police used a recanted witness statement to lay the foundation for the PR twist of events surrounding the murder of Anthony McLean. Jess Rivas, you are a liar. You've been absolutely quiet since we pulled up on you at your meet and greet at Milo Cafe 2 months back. You seem content with calling out LASD gangs, but don't seem interested in addressing the murder of Anthony McLean in a city where you're an elected official. You are complicit in the cover-up of Anthony's murder. Never forget that. Calais City Council, stand up and do something. Fire Steve Marmel. He shouldn't get to retire. He should be removed immediately. Fire John Perez. He shouldn't get to retire. He should be removed immediately. Fire murderer Edwin Dumagwindin and the other pigs who assisted in the murder of Anthony. You have an opportunity now to get ahead of this before you all go down with this sinking ship. And finally, fuck you, Victor. How much money have you received in the Pasadena Police Officers Association over the years? How many times have you defended the Pasadena Police Department's murders from Kendrick Madej to J.R. Thomas and now with Anthony McLean?
30 seconds.
That's it. That's it. I'm done.
Kate McInerney is back. We'll let her speak. Then Jasmine Richards Abdullah, followed by Adriana Batista, who has not yet checked in.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I had issues knowing the audio.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Kate McInerney, and I am a lifelong resident of Pasadena City Council District 7. I'm calling to uplift the demands of community members and Black Lives Matter to fire the officers who murdered Anthony McLean. I also want to step back and say that I'm alarmed at the disrespect and condescension towards the public, and particularly Black community members, shown in this meeting, let alone last week's meeting, and the blatant refusal to apologize for this behavior, which is a bare minimum. Firing the police who killed Anthony McLean is also the bare minimum that the city must do to affirm that Black lives do matter, that these are not just words or catchphrases, and that we show respect and humanity to Black community members. Thank you.
Thank you. Jasmine Richards Abdullah, followed by Adriana Batista, who's not yet checked in, followed by Ryan Bell, who has not checked in. So we could move to Dan Sharp. Ms. Abdullah. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, hi. All right. Well, I'm calling to just keep uplifting Fire Edwin Dumagwindin, Officer Serrano, Officer Maroney, Officer Duncan. And we're still asking for you guys to release all of the footage from Officer number 2, which is Edwin Dumagwindin's video footage, body cam footage, from the release of all of the information that you gave to us when we sent out our public request act. There's a lot of minutes missing from his footage from when he initially pulled Anthony and Lamont over. We would like that footage released. Michelle Bonarici, you lied to everybody when you said that everything was released and it's not. I also want to uplift that although I don't agree with what you said that day and how you said it to whom you said it to, because Carolyn, she does a lot of work with Black Lives Matter Pasadena. She does a lot of work in our community. And she's been helping since 2017. So I don't agree with you saying that to her, but I also would like to thank you.
Hello?
About an hour at the house with us, and you gave his mother answers. And you guys had the police chief, Moody, call. And I appreciate that. Nobody else has came and said anything to Jamal's mother, Miss Lisa. So I want to step by and say that, though. Thank you for that.
30 seconds.
And I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. Adriana Batista is called. Ryan Bell has been called. We'll move on to Dan Sharp.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Great. Thank you. I'm calling in tonight to speak about the zoning change for religious properties to allow multifamily development. We know that the city has 1,000 or 2,000 housing units in the pipeline and 1,100 affordable units that have already been built with city money. That's a wonderful effort, but ultimately we still need more in our community. We know this. At this point, I understand there's about 10 churches that want to build, including one just up the street from me here on North Fair Oaks Avenue. I want this in my neighborhood to support the people that have needs in my community here. I want to emphasize that this should be done by right and not discretionary, and because that will allow for the continued racist and classist zoning policies that have plagued Pasadena's history. While I have a little bit of additional time, I want to also note that I think it's shameful that the council is considering unlimited campaign donations. I don't think we need more money in politics. Additionally, I oppose the use of ShotSpotter in our city, and since you were able to find $600-something thousand to engage in something that's punitive, it'd be great if you could find an additional amount of money or redirect that money towards something that we know will provide benefits to the people of Northwest. And additionally, Mayor Gordo, your comments from last week are just sad, and I encourage you and the rest of council to listen to a variety of voices, even if they don't live here in our city. Thank you.
So we have Balmore Quadra is not in the meeting. Erendira Saucedo is not in the meeting. We'll go to Carolyn Galoni, followed by Julia, followed by Lucia Pierre. Carolyn, go ahead. 2 minutes.
Hi, I'm here as usual to ask you to fire the officers that killed Anthony McLean. Officer Dumingwinen, Sereno, Maroney, Duncan, and to agendize Anthony McLean's case. Also, release all the footage from the officers involved that night. I get 2 minutes each week to speak to the council. I don't get however long the meeting goes on. I care about a lot of issues. I mean, you don't know, but I pretty much live in Pasadena. I mean, I may have a house over, but my children go to school in Pasadena. I go to Pasadena, and I don't need to justify that. I care about a lot of issues, but I choose to plead with the city council each week for the city council to take action regarding the Anthony McLean killing. I'm pleading to you to have the same urgent response to the heinous police killings as to community violence. And I hear the community asking each week for you guys to do the same. And I hear your Pasadena community asking you to put the money into preventive programs. And I heard them say that when you voted for ShotSpotter too. And I hear them saying that tonight. Preventive programs and jobs so that we don't have to go to urgent meetings. And so that we need to talk about the Pasadena Police Department's brutality. We all need to speak out against police brutality and murders. I mean, did you think it was outrageous and insulting for people around the world to speak out against the murder of Mr. George Floyd and demand justice and the officers be called and indicted? No, I don't think you did. Would anyone ever say that? And this is the same thing. This is the same thing. Anthony McLean was murdered by police officers. The whole world should be here, sitting here calling you every day.
Thank you. Julia, followed by Lucia Pierre, followed by Yvonne Trice, but is not checked into the meeting, followed by Maya Iningo Anderson, also not checked into the meeting. Bring in Julia. Julia, *6 to unmute. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
2 minutes. Yes, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
I want to echo what the last speaker just said. I've been thinking a lot about how Anthony McLean is our George Floyd, and it is such a shame that it is like not the entire world here, but it is your entire community. We are paying attention to this. This is something that is important. It's been every caller on this. You guys have to act on something. This is insane. I'm a teacher and I can't get out of my head that I could have potentially taught him. He was so young and he was a father and he was shot in the back, murdered in the back, and nothing has been done. Sure, it's really nice to talk about doing this and like talk about doing the right thing, but there has to be action. It cannot take more time. This is the most urgent part of your job, is to support the ability of your community members to live good lives. He was murdered. That opportunity was taken from him and his family by people that you can fire. It's a shame that they can get, it is so horrific that they can get raises. That is horrific that we allow that type of promotion. I'm like appalled at what leaders like you show to my students. I'm appalled that they have you to look up to at some point. There's going to have to be so much unlearning on
30
that.
seconds.
You should all be ashamed of yourselves. This man was murdered and you are doing nothing. Your inaction speaks so much louder than any of the talk that you're wasting our times with. It is unbelievable. You should be ashamed of yourselves. His name was Anthony McLean.
Thank you. Lucia Pierre, followed by Yvonne Trice, who's not checked in, Maya Inigo Anderson, who's not checked in, so we'll turn to Mary and Toma after Ms. Pierre. Go ahead, 2 minutes.
Hi, I am a resident of Altadena and I work in Pasadena, and I am here to join the chorus of voices demanding accountability for the murder of Anthony McLean, beginning with the firing of the officers who murdered him. This is the first meeting that I have attended of the Pasadena City Council, so I was not here to witness the mayor's remarks last week, but what I've seen and heard this week has apparently been an echo of the disrespect toward the community, and specifically Black community members. And every day that this council does nothing to fire those officers and create some amount of accountability for the murder of Anthony McLean, you underscore that disrespect. So I yield the rest of my time, and I hope that this council does something, namely firing those officers.
It appears that the only public comment speaker that we have left in the meeting, I'll call the names of the people who have submitted cards but are not in the meeting: Yvonne Trice, Maya Inigo Anderson, Mary Toma, Debbie Tannenbaum, Furman Rivera, Yvonne Quintero, and so we have Camille Lewis. Ms. Lewis, go ahead. You have 2 minutes. Please unmute. Ms. Lewis?
Okay.
Okay, 2 minutes. Go ahead. Yes.
There should be justice for Anthony McLean. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, there should be justice for Anthony McLean. Fire the officers that murdered Anthony McLean. This has gone worldwide. Oh my God. Everybody knows about the city of Pasadena and not do anything. Like, Steve Mermel should be fired. He should not be able to retire September 2nd. You are the worst city council ever. Are you going to do anything for justice for Anthony McLean? Oh my God. This is wrong. Every week we're here, do something. Do your jobs. We want justice for Anthony McLean. Fire the officers that murdered Anthony McLean. You're so useless. Oh my God. Oh, you're like the worst. Are you gonna do anything? Do something.
Thank you. There are no more public comment speakers on matters not on the agenda. So Debbie Tannenbaum, Furman Rivera, and Yvonne Quintero are still not checked in. So we can move on to the consent calendar, Mayor, Council. We have completed the council's agenda and are ready to go into closed session. We do have public comment on closed session items A and C. The City Council will convene in the virtual meeting to discuss closed session items A, B, actually not B today, A and C on today's agenda, and opportunities provided at this time for public comment on the closed session items. Did you want to announce about B?
B is going to be held, yeah, and there's no need to talk about it this time.
All right. So if your name is called, are we doing?
Mayor,
we're doing 2 minutes for the closed session. If you're called, you can speak on any of the closed session items when your name is called.
Mayor.
Sorry.
Yes, Mr. Hampton.
I'm sorry. Before we go into closed session, I just wanted to make mention that this past weekend there was a RBOC led event, and I forget the name of it. Head in the Clouds, I believe. There were quite a few issues as it relates to Head in the Clouds, but I know that was the first time the Rose Bowl has done something of that magnitude since COVID, and so I'm sure that some of those issues were magnified. But in my ride along with Daryl, as I always do when we have events at the Rose Bowl, I take a ride along just for traffic, noise, concerns, etc. One thing that came up, and this is maybe for Councilmember Madison to take to the RBOC, is in the contracts. The contracts relate on a frequency of A, which is treble. And so you can't have a frequency of A go above 80 decibels for 15 minutes consecutively. I think when bringing that contract back, we should look at level A sound and level C sound, which is the bass. And the bass is what traveled. And of course, we had a Marine level over this weekend, and that wasn't helpful either. It kept a lot of that bass within the area. I felt the bass up at my house, and I don't live that close to I live close enough to the Rose Bowl. Yeah, I do live close. But I felt a lot of that in my house, and a lot of issues on the west side, but as well as the east side we had over the weekend. I believe there were a significant amount of complaints from the west side and the east side. So I know that next week we have the Rose Bowl coming back to us, asking us to increase the amount of events. I just want to make sure that it's on the radar that I'm going to be asking these questions when it comes back to us. That for me, quality of life is extremely important for our residents. I understand that there's going to be events at the Rose Bowl, and I think everybody that lives around here understands that. But it shouldn't be that detrimental to their well-being, their just day-to-day sleep, etc. So thank you for indulging me, Councilmember Madison. I just would like for you to have a gander at that and really look at the base piece of it.
If I could, I hear you loud and clear, Mr. Hampton, no pun intended. I was in touch with Rose Bowl staff, RBOC staff over the weekend as this was unfolding, and we're very attentive to it. So, but I appreciate your specific comments, and I'll make sure they get passed along.
I also want to commend our police department and fire department, especially in light of what happened in Houston at their festival. Our fire department, Rose Bowl staff, and police department handled that large crowd and maintained it in a way that everybody walked out of there safely. And last time I checked, which was yesterday at 8 o'clock, there were no arrests made at that concert last night. So it was very well managed. And I just want to applaud the efforts of our fire, police, and Rose Bowl staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hampton. Yeah, and on the issue of the base, I can tell you the Rose Bowl RBOC staff is very in tune with that matter. Mr. Kennedy?
Mayor, this is a question I want for a future meeting. Shall we have the speakers first?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time, Mr. Kennedy.
Mayor, what I would like to discuss normally at the end of our open session meeting, you ask, are there any agenda items for the future? So I'm wondering, did you want to hear from the speakers first?
If this is, oh.
The speakers are for closed session, so any regular open meeting business would happen before those speakers.
Okay, fine, thank you. Last week in open session, I requested that the process for selecting the next city manager be agendized for closed session this week. It was not, and there could be a lot of reasons why it was not. I'm raising it again because the city is obligated under the rules of CalPERS to commence this process before bringing Cynthia Kurtz aboard on December 6th as interim city manager. Pension rules are very strict that a CalPERS retiree cannot receive a pension and work for local government except under specified circumstances. The city council adopted a resolution in that regard, committing to an active, publicly posted recruitment process. We have to have more than just posting of a paper. It's not an active recruitment process, and we need to get this moving. Otherwise, the city stands to put itself and Mrs. Kurtz in a difficult position with CalPERS, especially if our performance is audited. We owe it to the city and to Cynthia to proceed in good faith with an active recruitment process before she becomes interim city manager. Therefore, I hereby move that the city manager recruitment be placed on the agenda for closed session at the next city council meeting to discuss the selection of a recruiter, finalizing the job description, and discussing whether the council wishes to appoint a subcommittee to work on the selection. That's a motion I'd like. If we can get a second on it, I hope.
If we can make a motion for that, I've requested something similar that I would second that. Thanks.
Absolutely. I mean, we can make motions on things that aren't on the agenda.
You can make a motion to put something on a future agenda.
Oh, fair.
If it's second, they can vote just on that, not the merits of whatever it is they're talking about.
And that matter, Mr. Kennedy, is coming forward. We have worked out the specifics with the city attorney and Cynthia Kurtz, and that's been reduced to writing, the concerns that you raise, and we will have that matter coming to us for further consideration in closed session.
Will it come before the interim city manager comes on board? Because I think it's required.
As interim city manager, yes, not as the extra help position that we've engaged her in. So we're very cognizant of the issues that you raise. I've consulted with the city attorney, and we've consulted with PERS and our outside counsel, and we're pretty comfortable that, and with Ms. Kurtz, importantly, we're pretty comfortable that the process we've selected is good to go. And so I'll agendize, as I've stated before, the matter to come to closed session for all of us to weigh in on the process going forward.
Do you have a date, Mayor?
Hopefully before December 3rd, November 22nd. Thank you.
Okay. So the commitment is that this matter will be heard in closed session November 22nd, so all of your colleagues can weigh in as well.
That's what we're planning for. Yeah, it would have to be before December 3rd. Yeah, so it has to be before December 3rd.
What has to happen before December 3rd is the commencement of the recruitment process for the regular city manager position.
We'll come on November 22nd to close.
So my
no meeting on November 29th.
So my concern, Mayor, I thank you for the commitment that'll be on the 22nd. My concern is just that all of the colleagues would have an opportunity in a closed session before it's announced in open session of what they believe everything needs to look like. And I haven't spoken to all of my colleagues, so I wouldn't know. But certainly I think you, as the head of our city, would want to know. And I think I have some comments that may be helpful in the closed session.
Yeah. And we will have direction to release an RFP to select a recruiter who will then work with the interim city manager and the city council to select someone. So all of that will come on November 22nd. Whatever the process
May be. It may or may not be. That's an example of what it could be.
What does that mean, Michelle?
I'm just saying the council could, in its discussion, come up with various approaches to a process. I'm just saying he's not committing to a particular one, but that's an option of what could happen.
Okay, so the council
will determine that in closed session.
Okay, understood. So does that make Ms. Williams the motion mute? Is that the correct term?
Well, I think, could we still make a motion? Because I think it would be, I've been getting a lot of questions on this. So if I could definitively say to someone, it's coming on the 22nd, would people mind if we did a motion to have it come on the 22nd?
Well, then I call the question then.
So your motion changed to the 22nd?
The motion remains the same. I just put it as a date certain of the 22nd.
Yeah, the 22nd in closed session. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yes.
So the motion to place the matter on closed session and city manager recruitment on November 22nd, 2021, moved by Councilmember Kennedy, seconded by Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Hampton?
Just give 1 sec. I had a comment. Mayor, my understanding is that matters can be placed on the agenda either by the mayor or by a motion of the council. I thought I understood the mayor to say it is on the agenda or will be when the agenda is released for November 22nd. So I'm questioning whether a motion is necessary.
I don't think that it is, but if it allows us to move the meeting forward without any more complications, I'm happy with it. But we do have to have it on the 22nd in order to have it appear before December 3rd, because there's no meeting on the 29th.
So I think as long as we're aware of that, that's what, 2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah.
I'm just questioning the efficacy or need for a motion if the mayor is representing that he understands the exigency and it will be on the agenda when the agenda is released. Not sure what making a motion will accomplish. Madam City Attorney, is there some benefit to having a motion of the council?
A motion of the council is an action item that would provide that is what's supposed to happen. A commitment by a person is a commitment. So I don't think it's required, but it's certainly allowed. And if it's voted as a direction, that would be the direction. If it doesn't pass, then the mayor could still put it on the 22nd.
Yeah, it'll be on the 22nd. It has to be on the 22nd in order for us to comply.
But you could just go ahead and vote to see what the council's decision is.
Well, again, I hate to start a precedent of making motions to put things on the agenda. Sometimes we have to do that because there's a legitimate disagreement about, among the council. But here where the mayor has indicated in good faith that it'll be on, he understands the reasons. I think the mayor has the prerogative to set those agendas, and I'm concerned about the precedent. So.
Then vote no.
Roll call. No. Councilmember Hampton?
Yes.
Councilmember Kennedy?
Yes.
Councilmember Madison?
Abstain.
Councilmember Masuda?
Yes.
Councilmember Rivas?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Mayor Gordo?
Yes.
The motion passes 7 in favor, 1 abstention.
Mark, may I change my abstention to a yes?
Yes.
I'm happy to reflect that. So the motion passes unanimously.
Usually when I'm the only one, I'm still right, but this time I'm prepared to concede.
So should we move on to closed session public comment?
Yes.
Okay, so the first speaker actually in the queue was Jane Ward, followed by Heavenly Hughes, followed by Alan Shea.
Hello, council members. It's me again.
2 minutes. Go ahead, Ms. Ward.
I am a mother of an 11-year-old son, and
could you just state which? Could you please state which closed session you're talking about?
C. It was the third one.
Thank you.
Thank you. As I was saying, I'm a mother of an 11-year-old son, and I was involved with racial justice issues before I became a mother, but it was really by loving another human more than I had thought was possible that I felt more deeply the horror of the way that our criminal legal system disposes of Black people, often Black young people, as if their lives don't matter. Anthony McClain, as a result of the Pasadena Police Department's knee-jerk racist fear, is now part of a list of beautiful souls, from Emmett Till to Trayvon Martin and Breonna Taylor and Tamir Rice and Michael Brown and Kendrick McDade and J.R. Thomas, all of whose lives were stolen by police officers who saw a threat where there wasn't one and who shot first out of fear of Blackness. Rather than take a pause and assess the scene the way that police do when white men are holding guns or running or even staging an insurrection at the Capitol. Edwin Dumagwindon shot before using his prefrontal cortex. Instead, he used his reptilian brain, his amygdala, his fear response. And doing that cost Anthony his life. So it needs to cost Dumagwindon his job. Because when you're holding a deadly weapon and you're pointing it at a resident who you pulled over for a minor infraction of a missing license plate, no matter what you think about Black people or gang members or anyone else, part of your job description should be knowing how to use the rational part of your brain. One last thing about my son, he knows all of your names. He does a perfect impersonation of Mark's roll call. These meetings are the soundtrack of his every Monday night. And he said tonight, I hope they'll soon do the right thing so you don't need to keep calling.
Your time has expired.
I hope so too, I said to my son. Thank you.
Thank you. Heavenly Hughes, followed by Alan Shea, followed by Michael Williams. Ms. Hughes, you're speaking on items A and C. You have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Do I have 2 minutes for each? That's my understanding?
No, it's no. Per this council's rules, you have 2 minutes on closed session for multiple items.
And what do we do to change these rules? Is that part of the charter? Who makes these rules?
It's an adopted resolution by the city council. You have 2 minutes. You can go ahead.
Adopted by who, Mark?
By the city council.
From where? From where?
I'm going to start your time, Ms. Hughes. Please go ahead.
First, I want to say thank you very much, Councilmember Tyrone Hampton, for joining us in Altadena to hear the voices of the residents of Pasadena and Altadena as we activated Peace in the Park and played a game of Smush Ball, a game invented by First to Third. I think Pasadena Black Pages. I think Altadena Surge. I think Interfaith. I think Housing Happens. I think CCC, and all the different organizations that are about racial injustice and addressing racial injustice. Mayor Victor Gordo, Are you purposely attempting to bring division within the community by implying the community can't be concerned about police violence and community violence? You obviously has chosen to ignore police violence. Community care includes all violence. We must be proactive to avert all violence. I believe item A is about personal evaluation. And Mayor Victor Gordo, when it comes to, and Steve Mermel and Chief Perez, when it comes to evaluating you all in regards to the murder of Anthony McClain, epic fail. Because you guys have ignored it for a whole year, refusing to take action. We appreciate the emergency action of John Kennedy and those who were involved with addressing community violence. We ask you to agendize police violence. We ask you to also make that an emergency, because that also, Mayor Victor Gordo, is killing Black people in Pasadena. Please don't pick and choose which type of murder is okay to address. And please, again, we demand an apology. I am not a coward, and I do have the guts to come and tell you to your face that I'm not a coward, and that all violence, including police violence, needs to be addressed. Agendized.
Your time has expired.
Thank you very much. When will I be able to talk on my next agenda item for public comment?
This is the end of the meeting, so this is it. Thank you very much. We'll call the next speaker. It's Michael Williams. Alan Shea, followed by Michael Williams, followed by Yvonne Trice. Mr. Shea, can you unmute? Mr. Shea, are you there? Okay, Mr. Shea is not here. Can we go to Michael Williams? Followed by Yvonne Trice, followed by Hiram Cormier Jr., followed by Kristen Petherbridge. Mr. Williams, you are speaking on items A and C. You have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
I think it is very telling that what the mayor said in his comments were that he knows what the community wants, and what they want is an address to the issues of violence and gun violence in our community. Basically in response to calls for Anthony McClain justice for him. Basically saying that the community doesn't care about Anthony McClain. They don't care about getting justice for him, which I've already said is a lie and not true, as many people who have called have proven. But basically that's what he said. And let's take that at face value. Let's say that that's true. Does that make it right for you not to do anything? Let's say no one in the whole world cared about Anthony McClain, that he was shot in the back, that he was held down by a knee to the back as he bled out. Let's say no one ever cared about that other than his family. Would that make it all right for you not to seek justice for that young man? You see the moral gymnastics you have to play in order to defend evil. That's what you've done. You've exposed yourself. You've exposed your immorality, and you've proved me proved me right again and again. That the only thing this council responds to is threats of removal and threats of losing your job. That's the only thing you do. Because week after week, I've called, and I haven't called you to do things because people are threatening you. I haven't called because the community wants it. I've told you to do something because it is the right thing to do. And it seems like you are incapable of doing that. At least Victor Gordo is. I don't know about the rest of the council. Hopefully you all have a better moral compass than your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Yvonne Trice, followed by Hiram Cormier Jr., followed by Kristen Petherbridge. Ms. Trice, it's *6 to unmute. You're speaking on closed session item C. You have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
My name is Yvonne Trice, founder of A Mother's Voice. My son, Monte Russell, was killed in the city of Pasadena. The Pasadena police did not even notify us currently to the day when he was laying out on Washington and Sinaloa. I'm here to say that I've been in your community working with Michelle White when she started the organization called Servanthood. I heard Mr. Kennedy say when he was talking to one young lady in regards to a mother, I've been doing feeding in this community. I've been giving back in this community. I also spoke when you guys had the very first United Peace Walk. That was me. Lack of communication. No one looked at me. No one heard us. My family, I've been here 25 years. And in the 25 years, I've wrote to the city council. I wrote letters, mothers who wrote letters. Our voices wasn't heard. There's no humanity for us. When I lost my son, I had to go outside of your city, not because I wanted to, Mr. Gordo. I was there. I love Pasadena. I did a lot there. And Mr. Gordo, I'm a mother of a murdered child in your city. That's so disrespectful for you to say because I was on Zoom. I wasn't able to make it, Mr. Gordo. We're still grieving. We're still grieving with no answers from you guys. But I'm still doing community work. So when you're looking for a mother, that would be me, Mr. Gordo, Mr. Kennedy, City Council. Steve Merle, I wrote you over and over and over. And you guys have not, your detectives that have my baby's case, you guys promoted him, and he never talked to my family at all. Never. Still today, and you promoted him. How is that? We have a family, no humanity for mothers who lost their children, regardless of how we lost it. Mr. Gordo, we deserve an apology. I'm asking you as a mother's voice for my son that lives in that city, and I've done a lot in your city, and still today. Please apologize. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trice. Hiram Cormier Jr., Kristen followed by Kristen Petherbridge.
Yeah, what's up? Fire the officers who killed. Yeah, fire the officers who killed Anthony McClain. Fire the officers who killed Anthony McClain. Fire the officers who killed Anthony McClain. You know, last week and this week and every week, y'all talk about your constituents and what they matter. Now apparently they don't. You'll talk about how much you care about them, but it's funny. You show up after shootings, do your whole political rant, do your whole rounds and all that, disappear into your disregard a few weeks later. But the thing is, though, the people that you communicate with on a daily basis in Northwest Pasadena tend to be black. Well, if you do, they tend to be black, they tend to be brown, and that means that those people on a statistical average are disproportionately impacted by police brutality, lack of housing, and all the other things that people call in about every week, and that people do not have the privilege of pretending don't exist in Pasadena, like Gordo articulated last week. You are so smart that you are so articulate that you will tell us precisely how ignorant and foolish you really are. That means that if one of these people that you profess are your constituents are killed by the cops, you will sit here and do the same shit to them that you did to Anthony McClain, to Chris Ballou, and to all the other people who don't even have a name because y'all refuse to recognize them, or who have been impacted by police brutality through either a bullet or a sentence or something else, like a drug planting. You know, what about black on black crime though? 108 guns or so to the police chief's wife. But what about crime in the black community in Northwest Pasadena? How about this? How about you stop creating environments where that happens? I mean, it's really not that fucking hard. Like I said,
Mr. Cormier Jr., your time has expired.
Defund the police, fire those cops. Fire.
Kristen Petherbridge. Ms. Petherbridge, you have 2 minutes. You're speaking on item C. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead. 2 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, good evening. My name is Kristen Petherbridge. I am a resident of Altadena, and I am speaking in regard to closed session item C. While Mayor Gordo clearly expressed last week that he is hostile towards hearing from members of the public who are not residents of Pasadena, I feel folks calling in from surrounding communities have every reason to be here and to be heard. As others have expressed, many of these callers work in Pasadena, volunteer in Pasadena, including myself, shop and support businesses in Pasadena, etc. I believe strongly that Mayor Gordo should apologize for the extremely unprofessional and insensitive comments he made last week. I also want to echo the sentiments and the comments regarding the urgent need for the city of Pasadena to take immediate action toward justice for Anthony McClain, who was murdered by Pasadena police, as expressed earlier this evening, as well as over the past year. I support the request for Pasadena City Council to agendize the Anthony McClain case on the public agenda and agendize review of the officer-involved shooting policy. In closing, I would like to ask each council member to consider which side of history are they choosing to be on in regard to the Anthony McClain case. I would also like to invite any council member who is still undecided or hesitant toward taking immediate action on justice for Mr. McClain to please connect with us at an upcoming Showing Up for Racial Justice meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. That completes public comment on the closed session and on the rest of the agenda.
Before we adjourn the closed session, let me just say that I do believe everyone is entitled to their opinion. You're just not entitled to speak for people that you don't represent. You can state your opinion, we'll listen to it, but remember something, we are elected to represent everyone in this community, those of us around the dais. You know, and I would challenge people again from outside of the city, take a tour with me of this city. It's much more diverse than you believe or understand that it is. I challenge you to take a walk with me at Villa Park and speak to my constituents in Espanol y pregúntenles qué es lo que los preocupa a ellos. What is it that concerns them? Take a walk with me at Robinson Park, as I did on Saturday. Walk with me to the home of, and my heart goes out to the young mother who joined us today, but walk with me on Summit Avenue in English and Spanish and talk to the people who live on Summit who lost a young man here last Monday as all of you were pretending to speak for that young mother. And it's just not right. And so, you know, I challenge all of you to join me in that walk, in that tour of our city, to understand the diversity of this city, not just cultural diversity, but language diversity, economic diversity, all of the things that we see here in Pasadena. And then finally, you know, let's work together. So many of you have come here and injected division. You've come here and said that you made racial comments about members of this council that I objected to, and I'm going to continue to object to. I'm sorry that, you know, 40, 50 years ago, there wasn't someone here in this seat that would say to people, you can't just come in here and throw the N-word around. You can't just come in here and say, you know, that based on the color of their skin, you believe certain members of the council view the world one way, when I know that to be different. And so I am going to speak out because I am in this seat now, and I'm not going to allow it from residents or anyone else. That may work in the faculty lounge somewhere, in some books, but it doesn't work in Pasadena. Thank you. So we'll go
Mayor,
ahead.
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
Really quickly, thank you for your leadership, Mayor, on this issue and in serving our constituents. And you definitely have our support in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. With that, let's adjourn into closed session.
The City Council